Give me that phone. Now. Before Chioma could react, her husband's foot slammed into her stomach with brutal force. She flew backward, crashing into a row of plastic airport seats. Her phone skittered across the polished floor of Murtala Muhammad International Airport's departure lounge. Around them, 300 passengers froze mid-step. A woman screamed. A child started crying. A man dropped his coffee, the cup shattering on the tile. "Ikeen, what are you?" Chioma gasped, clutching her stomach, trying to breathe through the explosion of pain. "Shut up." Her husband lunged for the phone, but Chioma was faster. She grabbed it first, rolling away from his reaching hands. "Sir, you need to stop." A security guard ran toward them, radio crackling. "This is my wife. This is a family matter." Ikeen's voice boomed through the departure lounge. "Stay out of it." But the guard kept coming. And around them, phones rose into the air. 20. 30. 50 phones. All recording. All witnessing. And Chioma realized, clutching her phone with the damning conversation still open on the screen, that her husband had just made the biggest mistake of his life. He'd attacked her in front of witnesses. Hundreds of them. And she was done being silent. Welcome to Stories by Tino, where we bring you the most gripping African family dramas that expose the truth and deliver justice. Today's story is about a woman whose husband's violence in the middle of Lagos airport became his downfall, witnessed by hundreds of passengers who refused to look away. Thank you for being part of our community. Your likes, comments, and shares help these powerful stories reach people who need them most. Before we dive in, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. USA, UK, Nigeria, Jamaica, Canada, Ghana. We love hearing from you. Now, let's go back to the beginning and discover how a marriage built on lies exploded in Nigeria's busiest airport. 8 hours earlier. Chioma had woken up that morning with a sense of dread she couldn't explain. Maybe it was the trip itself. 3 days in Abuja for Ikeen's business conference. 3 days of playing the perfect wife while he attended meetings she wasn't invited to, dinners she wasn't welcome at, conversations that stopped when she entered the room. 12 years of marriage had taught her to recognize the signs. Ikeen was hiding something. She just hadn't known how big the secret was. Not yet. Are you packed? Ikeen appeared in their bedroom doorway, already dressed in his expensive suit. At 42, he was still handsome, tall, well-built, with the kind of commanding presence that made people defer to him automatically. Chioma had fallen in love with that presence once. Thought it meant strength, protection, leadership. Now she knew it just meant control. Almost. She zipped her small suitcase. As a teacher at a private school in Lagos, she didn't need much for a 3-day trip. Just professional outfits for the 2 dinners Ikeen had grudgingly agreed she could attend. The rest of the time, she'd be alone in the hotel room. As always. We need to leave in 30 minutes. The flight is at 9. Ikeen checked his Rolex, the one that cost more than Chioma earned in 6 months of teaching. Don't make us late. I won't. She'd learned years ago not to make him wait. Not if she wanted to avoid the consequences. Their driver loaded the bags into Ikeen's black Range Rover. They drove through Lagos morning traffic in silence, Ikeen on his phone the entire time, typing furiously. Chioma stared out the window at the chaos of Lagos, Okadas weaving through traffic, street vendors balancing impossible loads on their heads, the organized chaos of Africa's largest city waking up. She loved Lagos. Had grown up here, in a modest Surulere neighborhood. Her parents had been teachers too, both retired now, living quietly. They'd been so proud when she married Ikeen Okafor, successful businessman, owner of 3 luxury car dealerships, member of the Rotary Club, church elder. They didn't know about the bruises Chioma had learned to hide. The verbal abuse that left no marks but destroyed her from the inside. The slow, systematic destruction of everything she used to be. Nobody knew. Ikeen was too good at pretending. And Chioma had become too good at helping him pretend. Until today. Murtala Muhammad International Airport, 7:45 a.m. The airport was chaos as always. Travelers pulling wheeled suitcases, families saying tearful goodbyes, businessmen shouting into phones, security guards checking IDs and boarding passes. Chioma loved the energy of airports. The sense of possibility. Of escape. Though she never actually escaped anywhere. They checked in for their Arik Air flight to Abuja. Business class, of course. Ikin would never fly economy. His image mattered too much. I'm going to the lounge, Ikin announced after they cleared security. You can wait at the gate. Of course. The business class lounge where she wasn't welcome. Where he'd conduct his business, without her presence complicating things. Actually, I'd like to come with you, Chioma heard herself say. Ikin's eyes narrowed. Why? Because I'm your wife. Because we're traveling together. Because you don't trust me? His voice dropped to that dangerous low tone that always preceded violence. Chioma's survival instinct screamed at her to back down. To apologize. To let him go alone. But something in her, something that had been dying for 12 years but wasn't quite dead yet, refused. I just want to spend time with you, she said carefully. Is that so wrong? For a moment, Ikin looked like he might hit her right there in the security area. His hand twitched. His jaw clenched. Then he smiled. That cold, controlled smile he used when people were watching. Fine. Come. He grabbed her arm, fingers digging in hard enough to bruise. Let's spend time together. They walked to the departure lounge, not the business class lounge, Chioma noticed. He'd changed his mind about that. Probably didn't want her in there for a reason. They found seats near their gate. Ikin immediately pulled out his phone, shutting her out as effectively as a closed door. Chioma sat beside him, watching families say goodbye, watching couples hold hands, watching normal people live normal lives. What would that be like? To be married to someone who actually loved you? Ikin's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, then stood abruptly. I need to make a call. Stay here. I need to use the restroom anyway. Chioma stood too. I said stay here. His voice was sharp enough to make nearby passengers look over. I need the restroom, Ikin. I'll be right back. His eyes burned with fury, but there were too many people watching. He couldn't stop her. Not without making a scene. Fine. 5 minutes. Chioma walked toward the restrooms, feeling his eyes burning into her back. But instead of going inside, she circled around the departure lounge, staying out of his sight line. She didn't know what she was looking for. Just something. Proof of whatever he was hiding. And then she saw him. Standing near the windows, phone pressed to his ear, back to the crowd. His body language completely different, relaxed, smiling, intimate. Chioma moved closer, hidden by a pillar. I can't wait to see you either, baby, Ikin's voice was soft, affectionate. The way he used to talk to Chioma 12 years ago before the mask came off. Yes, I told her I have business meetings all 3 days. She won't suspect anything. Chioma's blood turned to ice. I know. I wish I could leave her too, but the divorce would be too expensive right now. Once the Abuja deal closes and I move the money offshore, then we can, what? No, baby, don't cry. I love you. The marriage is just paperwork. You're the one I want to be with. Every word was a knife. Did you book the hotel room? The suite at Transcorp Hilton? Perfect. Yes, we'll have 3 days together while she sits alone in the other hotel thinking I'm in meetings. He laughed. She's so stupid. She actually believes everything I tell her. Chioma's hands shook. Stupid. He thought she was stupid. I have to go. She's probably looking for me. I'll text you when I land. I love you too, Amara. See you soon. Amara. Chioma's best friend. Her maid of honor. The woman she'd trusted with everything. The woman who'd been coming to their house for dinner every week. Who'd cried on Chioma's shoulder about her own failed relationships. Who'd said just last month, "You're so lucky to have Ikeen. He's one of the good ones." All of it a lie. All of it a game. And Chioma was the stupid one who'd never seen it. Rage flooded through her. Not the cold kind. The hot kind. The burning kind that erases fear and caution and 12 years of learned helplessness. She pulled out her phone and did something she'd never done before. She recorded him. Ikeen was still by the window, now texting, probably to Amara. Chioma filmed him for 30 seconds, capturing his face, his relaxed posture, his intimate smile. Evidence. Then she walked back to their seats and sat down, heart hammering, mind racing. Ikeen returned 5 minutes later, his mask firmly back in place. Cold. Distant. Controlled. "Where were you?" he demanded. "Restroom. Like I said." He studied her face suspiciously. Chioma kept her expression neutral. 12 years of practice. They sat in tense silence. Chioma's phone felt like it was burning a hole in her pocket. The video. The evidence. The proof that her entire marriage was a lie. What was she going to do with it? Confront him here? Wait until they got to Abuja? Pretend she didn't know and gather more evidence? Her phone buzzed. A text message. From Amara. "Hey babe. Just thinking about you. Have a great trip to Abuja with Ikeen. You two are so cute together, red heart. I'm so jealous of your perfect marriage, lol." Chioma stared at the message. The casual cruelty of it. The mockery hidden in concern. Her hands shook with rage. Without thinking, she replied. "Thank you. Though I just heard Ikeen tell you on the phone 5 minutes ago that I'm stupid and he can't wait to see you at Transcorp Hilton. So maybe not so perfect after all?" Smiling face with smiling eyes. She hit send before she could change her mind. 3 dots appeared immediately. Amara was typing. Then stopped. Then started again. Then stopped. Chioma watched the dots appear and disappear, appear and disappear. Finally, a message. "I don't know what you're talking about. You must have misunderstood something." Chioma's laugh was bitter. Even caught, they were still lying. She typed back. "I recorded it. Every word. Want me to send it to you? Or should I just post it online?" The 3 dots disappeared and didn't come back. Chioma's phone started ringing. Amara calling. She declined it. It rang again. Declined. Again. Declined. Then a text. "Please don't do anything crazy. Let me explain. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. You're sleeping with my husband. He's planning to divorce me after stealing money and moving it offshore. You're both lying to me. Did I miss anything?" No response. Then Ikeen's phone rang. He glanced at the screen, probably saw it was Amara, and his face went white. He looked at Chioma. Really looked at her. And saw something in her expression that made him stand up abruptly. "Come with me." His voice was dangerous. "Now." "No." The word surprised them both. "What did you say?" "I said no." Chioma looked up at him. 12 years of fear. 12 years of obedience. All of it crumbling. "I'm not going anywhere with you." His hand shot out and grabbed her arm, yanking her to her feet. "You don't get to say no to me. You're my wife. Let go of me." Chioma's voice was loud enough that nearby passengers turned to look. "Keep your voice down. I said let go of me." She yanked her arm free. Ikin's face contorted with rage. His hand rose. And Chioma held up her phone, the video playing on the screen. His voice, clear as day, "She's so stupid. She actually believes everything I tell her." Ikin froze, staring at the screen. "You recorded me? Every word. Your whole conversation with Amara. Planning your 3 days together while I sit alone in a hotel. Talking about divorcing me after you steal money. Calling me stupid." Chioma's voice shook but held firm. "I have it all. Give me that phone." "No. Give me that phone right now." He lunged for it. Chioma pulled back. They struggled. And then his foot connected with her stomach in a vicious kick that sent her flying backward into the row of seats. Pain exploded through her body. The phone flew from her hands, skittering across the floor. Around them, the departure lounge erupted. Screams. Shouts. People jumping up from their seats. "Oh my God. He just kicked her. Someone call security. I'm recording this." Chioma lay sprawled across the plastic seats, gasping for air, her stomach on fire where his foot had connected. Ikin dove for the phone. But Chioma was faster. She rolled off the seats, grabbed the phone, and scrambled backward on her hands and knees. A security guard was running toward them, radio crackling. Dozens of passengers had their phones out, recording. An elderly man stepped forward, blocking Ikin. "Sir, you need to calm down. Get out of my way." Ikin shoved him aside. The old man stumbled but was caught by 2 younger men, who both pulled out their phones and started recording. "Sir, stop." The security guard reached them. "You're assaulting your wife in a public airport. You need to. This is a family matter." Ikin roared. "She has something that belongs to me. He's trying to steal my phone because I recorded him." Chioma's voice rang through the lounge. "I have evidence of his affair. Of him planning to steal money. Of him calling me stupid to his mistress." The crowd gasped. Murmurs rippled outward. "Is she serious? He kicked his own wife. I'm getting all this on video. Somebody needs to stop him." Ikin's eyes darted around the crowd. Realized what was happening. How many people were watching? Recording. Witnessing. His mask slipped back into place. "Officers, my wife is having a mental breakdown." His voice became smooth, concerned, condescending. "She's been very stressed lately. She attacked me and I was defending myself." "Liar." Chioma struggled to her feet, still clutching her stomach. "You kicked me because I recorded you planning your affair. Everyone saw it. Everyone recorded it." "Show of hands," a woman's voice called out from the crowd. "Who saw him kick her unprovoked?" 50 hands shot into the air. "Who's recording this?" Even more hands. Ikin's face went from confidence to panic in seconds. "Now," Chioma said, her voice steady despite the pain, despite the fear, despite 12 years of being conditioned to stay quiet. "Everyone's going to hear the truth. Every secret. Every lie. Every crime." She held up her phone. "You want to know who Ikin Okafor really is? The successful businessman? The church elder? The perfect husband?" She looked at the crowd of passengers, all watching, all listening. "Let me tell you exactly who he is. And I have proof of everything." Ikin lunged at her again. But 3 men from the crowd grabbed him, holding him back. "Let her speak," one said. "We're all listening," another added. "The whole airport is watching," a third said, holding up his phone. "And recording." Chioma looked at her husband, the man she'd loved, feared, obeyed for 12 years. The man who'd just kicked her in front of hundreds of people. The man who'd called her stupid while planning to betray her. And she smiled. Because he'd finally given her what she'd never had before. Witnesses. And she was going to use them. What secrets do you think Chioma will expose? Will Ikeen's affair be the worst of it, or is there more? Drop your predictions in the comments. The departure lounge had transformed into a courtroom. 300 passengers, all trapped in the liminal space between Lagos and their destinations, formed a living arena around Chioma and Ikeen. Some stood on chairs for a better view. Others held up phones, live streaming to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. A few children sat on their parents' shoulders, not understanding what they were witnessing but knowing it was important. Chioma stood in the center of it all, her stomach still throbbing where Ikeen's foot had connected, her phone clutched in her hand like a weapon. Ikeen struggled against the three men holding him, a businessman in an expensive suit, a university student in jeans and a t-shirt, and a burly man who looked like he worked construction. Three strangers united by what they'd witnessed. "Let me go," Ikeen snarled. "You have no right to touch me. I'll sue all of you for assault." "You just kicked your wife in front of 300 witnesses," the businessman said calmly. "I think we're justified. She's lying. She's mentally unstable. We all saw what we saw," the student interrupted. "Now let her speak." The security guard's radio crackled. "Backup is coming," he said, though he made no move to intervene. Even he wanted to hear what Chioma had to say. She looked down at her phone. The video was still paused on the screen, Ikeen's face frozen mid-laugh as he talked to Amara about how stupid his wife was. 12 years of secrets. 12 years of lies. All about to come crashing down. "My name is Chioma Okafor," she began, her voice shaking but clear. "I've been married to this man for 12 years. And for 12 years, I've been living a lie." "Don't do this," Ikeen's voice was low, dangerous. "Chioma, think about what you're doing. Think about our reputation. Our family." "What family?" She turned to face him. "The family where you beat me and call it discipline? The family where you tell me I'm worthless every day? The family where you're planning to divorce me as soon as you steal enough money to disappear?" Gasps rippled through the crowd. "That's not," she's twisting everything. "I'm twisting nothing." Chioma held up her phone. "I have your voice. Your words. Let everyone hear what you really think of me." She pressed play. The audio filled the departure lounge. Crystal clear. Undeniable. "Yes, I told her I have business meetings all 3 days. She won't suspect anything. I know. I wish I could leave her too, but the divorce would be too expensive right now. Once the Abuja deal closes and I move the money offshore, then we can." She's so stupid. She actually believes everything I tell her. "I love you. The marriage is just paperwork." Silence crashed over the crowd when the recording ended. Then chaos. "He said he's moving money offshore. That's his wife he's talking about. Who is he talking to? Someone named Amara. That's embezzlement. He's stealing money." Ikeen's face had gone from red to white. "That's taken out of context. That's a private conversation illegally recorded." "Oh, there's more." Chioma's smile was bitter. "So much more. Everyone want to hear about Amara? About who she is?" "Chioma, stop. She's my best friend." The words felt like glass in her throat. Or she was. "She's been coming to our house every week for 5 years. Eating my food. Crying on my shoulder about her love life. Telling me how lucky I was to have such a wonderful husband." A woman in the crowd made a disgusted sound. "She was sleeping with him the whole time?" "For 3 years, apparently." Chioma pulled up her text messages, the ones from just minutes ago. "Would you like to read what she said when I confronted her? How she tried to gaslight me even after being caught?" "Show us," someone called out. Chioma held up the phone, zooming in on the messages. Several people in the front row leaned closer to read. "Amara, I don't know what you're talking about. You must have misunderstood something. Chioma, I recorded it. Every word. Want me to send it to you? Or should I just post it online? Amara, please don't do anything crazy. Let me explain. It's not what you think. She's still lying, a woman said, incredulous. Even caught red-handed, she's lying, another agreed. What kind of friend does that? An elderly grandmother asked, shaking her head. Ikeen tried a different approach. Okay. Yes, I made a mistake. I had an affair. I'm a weak man. I'm sorry. But this, he gestured at the crowd, this public humiliation isn't necessary. We can talk about this privately. Privately? Chioma's laugh was hollow. Like we've talked privately for 12 years while you beat me? While you destroyed my confidence? While you told me every day that I was worthless, stupid, lucky that you even married me? I never. You did. Every single day. She turned to the crowd. Do you know what it's like to live with someone who makes you feel like you're crazy? Who tells you you're overreacting when you question obvious lies? Who makes you apologize for catching them in betrayals? Several women in the crowd nodded, their eyes wet. Do you know what it's like to become smaller and smaller until you're barely a person anymore? Until you're just a shadow designed to make him look good? Chioma, enough. No. Her voice cracked like thunder. Not enough. Not nearly enough. Because the affair? That's just the beginning. Ikeen went very still. Don't. Everyone wants to know about the Abuja deal he mentioned. Chioma looked at the crowd. The money he's planning to move offshore? Chioma, I'm warning you. He's been embezzling from his own company. The words came easier now, like poison she'd been holding in too long. 3 luxury car dealerships. He owns them with 2 partners. But for the past 2 years, he's been moving money into offshore accounts. Ghost employees on the payroll. Fake vendor invoices. All of it going to accounts in Dubai. The crowd's murmur grew louder. You have no proof of that. I have all the proof. Chioma pulled up her photos, scrolling through screenshots. I've been documenting everything for 6 months. Bank statements. Transfer records. Emails to his offshore banker. All of it saved to the cloud where you can't delete it. You went through my private files. Your private crimes, you mean? She held up a screenshot showing a transfer of 5 million naira to a Dubai account. This is from last month. Want to explain to everyone why consulting fees are going to a shell company you created? A man in the crowd stepped forward, older, distinguished, in a business suit. I'm a lawyer. If what she's saying is true, that's fraud. Multiple counts. You could go to prison for 10 years. This is between me and my wife. The moment you kicked her in a public airport, it stopped being private, the lawyer said. And if you've been embezzling, your business partners and the government have a right to know. My partners? Ikeen laughed desperately. My partners trust me. One of your partners is right here. A voice came from the back of the crowd. Everyone turned. A tall man in his 50s pushed through the gathering, his face dark with fury. Emeka Obi. Your business partner for 7 years. And I want to know what the hell she's talking about, Ikeen. Ikeen's face went gray. Emeka. This is all a misunderstanding. My wife is having some kind of breakdown. Is she? Emeka pulled out his own phone. Because I'm looking at my banking app right now. And I'm seeing some very interesting withdrawals from our company account. Large ones. To vendors I don't recognize. Those are legitimate. Are they? Emeka's voice was ice. Then you won't mind if I call our accountant right now and ask for an emergency audit? There's no need for that. Oh, I think there is. Emeka was already dialing. Because if you've been stealing from our company, Ikeen, I'm going to personally make sure you spend the next decade in prison. The crowd watched, transfixed, as Emeka spoke rapid fire into his phone. Yes, I need an emergency audit. Today. Now. I want every transaction from the past 2 years reviewed. Every vendor invoice. Every payroll entry. Everything. He hung up and looked at Chioma. What else do you have? Everything. Chioma's voice was steady now. Proof of 5 million naira moved offshore in the past 6 months. Shell companies. Fake invoices. Ghost employees. All documented. Send it to me. Emeka held out his phone. Right now. Emeka, you're going to trust a mentally unstable woman over your partner of 7 years? Ikeen tried one more time. I'm going to trust documentation over your word, yes. Emeka's voice was cold. Especially after I just watched you kick your wife in a public airport. Kind of makes me question your judgment. Chioma airdropped the files. 57 documents. Screenshots. Bank statements. Emails. All of it incriminating. Emeka scrolled through them, his face darkening with each page. Jesus Christ, Ikeen. You've stolen over 20 million naira from our company. The crowd exploded. 20 million? That's not embezzlement, that's grand theft. He needs to be arrested. Someone call the EFCC. The security guard was on his radio now, calling for actual police, not just airport security. This is ridiculous, Ikeen snarled. Those documents are fake. She manufactured all of this to make me look bad. Why? Emeka looked up from his phone. Why would she manufacture dozens of bank statements with your signature? Documents with your email address? Invoices you approved? Because she's trying to destroy me. You destroyed yourself. Chioma's voice cut through his protests. I just documented it. A woman in the crowd raised her hand. Ma, you said the affair was just the beginning. What else is there? Chioma took a deep breath. This was the part she'd been dreading. The part that was hardest to say out loud. The woman he's having an affair with, Amara, isn't the only one. What? Even Emeka looked shocked. There are 3 other women. The words felt surreal leaving her mouth. 3 that I know about, anyway. 4 women, someone gasped. You're lying, Ikeen said, but his voice lacked conviction. Am I? Chioma pulled up more photos. This is Blessing. Works at your Lekki dealership. You've been sleeping with her for 18 months. The photo showed Ikeen with a young woman, maybe 25, laughing over drinks at a restaurant. That's just a work dinner. With your hand on her thigh? Chioma zoomed in. Very professional. She swiped to the next photo. This is Jennifer. Your personal assistant, who you met with every Thursday at the Sheraton Hotel. For 2 years. Those were business meetings. In a hotel room? For 3 hours every Thursday afternoon? She swiped again. And this is Ngozi. The old friend from university, who you've been sending money to every month. 20,000 naira. For her sick mother. She needed help. Her mother died 3 years ago. Chioma's voice was flat. I found out when I called her myself last month. She told me everything. How you promised to leave me for her. How you said I was cold and unloving. How you played the victim while having a wife at home. The crowd was silent now, the weight of Ikeen's deception settling over them like a shroud. So to summarize, the lawyer said, counting on his fingers. Embezzlement. Bigamy, well, not technically, but multiple simultaneous affairs. Domestic violence, which 300 of us witnessed. What else? Murder? Treason? I'm not finished, Chioma said quietly. Ikeen closed his eyes. Don't. There's one more woman. Chioma's hands shook as she pulled up the final photo. Her name is Adiz. And she's not just his mistress. She turned the phone to show the crowd. The photo showed Ikeen with a woman maybe 30 years old. But that wasn't what made everyone gasp. It was the toddler in her arms. And the baby she was visibly pregnant with. He has children, Chioma whispered. 2 children. With Adiz. A son who's 3 years old and she's 7 months pregnant with their second. The departure lounge erupted into chaos. He has a whole other family? While married to her? That is bigamy. Those are his children? How is that even possible? Ma'am, where does this woman live? The lawyer asked. Abuja. Chioma's voice was hollow. Which is where we were flying to today. For his business conference. Except there is no business conference. He was going to spend 3 days with Adiz and their son. In the home he bought for them. The home he pays for with stolen money from his company. She's lying. Ikeen roared. Those children aren't mine. DNA doesn't lie. Chioma pulled up one more document. This is a paternity test I had done 2 months ago when I found out about them. I paid an investigator to get samples. The 3-year-old? That's your son, Ikeen. 99.9% certainty. She turned to the crowd. My husband has 2 families. 2 sets of children. And he's been living this double life for 4 years while telling me I'm the crazy one for questioning him. An older woman pushed through the crowd, tears streaming down her face. Baby girl, how did you survive this? How did you stay sane? I almost didn't. Chioma's voice cracked. I almost believed him. That I was crazy. That I was imagining things. That I was lucky he stayed with me despite being so worthless. You're not worthless, the woman said fiercely. He is. He's trash disguised as a man. Amen, several voices called out. Ikeen had stopped struggling against the men holding him. He looked defeated, trapped, cornered. So here's what happens now, Emeka said, still scrolling through the financial documents. I'm calling the police. EFCC too. You're going to be arrested for embezzlement. The audit will show exactly how much you stole. And you're going to prison. And I'm divorcing you, Chioma added. And taking you for everything. The house. The cars. Everything you claim to own. Because I have proof you bought it all with stolen money. Which means it's all proceeds of crime. You can't. I can. And I will. She looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time in years without fear. You took 12 years of my life. Made me feel small. Worthless. Insane. You beat me, cheated on me, stole from everyone around you, and thought you'd get away with it forever. Chioma. But you made one mistake. She smiled. You attacked me in an airport. In front of 300 witnesses. With cameras everywhere. And now everyone knows exactly who you are. Sirens wailed outside. Police. Airport security. EFCC, someone must have called them. Final question, a young woman in the crowd called out. The phone call that started all this. You answered his phone? Yes. I saw it ringing while he was making another call. I answered it. Chioma looked at her husband. It was Amara. Wanting to confirm hotel details for their romantic getaway this week. She thought she was talking to him. What did you tell her? I told her I'd see her in hell. Chioma's smile was cold. Right before I recorded his next conversation. The police burst into the departure lounge, 6 officers, looking confused at the massive crowd. What's going on here? That man, Emeka pointed at Ikeen. He's embezzled over 20 million naira from our company. This woman has documented proof. And 300 of us just witnessed him commit assault. Also, the lawyer added, he has multiple affairs, a secret family, and has been committing fraud for years. This woman has all the evidence. The lead officer looked at Chioma. Ma'am, is this true? All of it. She held out her phone. And I'll give you copies of everything. Arrest him. The officer gestured to his team. As the police moved forward with handcuffs, Ikin finally broke. Wait. Wait. Chioma, please. We can work this out. I'll end all the affairs. I'll return the money. I'll get help. Please. Think about our reputation. Our life together. We don't have a life together. Chioma's voice was steady. We never did. I was just a prop in your performance. Something to make you look respectable while you did whatever you wanted. I love you. You don't even know what love is. The handcuffs clicked into place. Ikin's expensive suit, his Rolex, his polished appearance, none of it mattered now. He was just a criminal being arrested in an airport, caught by his own arrogance. As the police led him away, Ikin looked back at Chioma one last time. You'll regret this. When you're alone. When you have nothing. You'll regret destroying me. No, Chioma said quietly. I'll regret wasting 12 years on you. But destroying you? That I'll celebrate. The crowd erupted in applause as Ikin disappeared from view, escorted by police through the departure lounge toward a very different kind of departure than he'd planned. Chioma stood alone in the center of the crowd, her stomach still throbbing, her heart still racing, her entire life just demolished and rebuilt in the space of 30 minutes. Ma, you're bleeding. A woman pointed at Chioma's mouth where Ikin's kick had split her lip. I know. Chioma touched it gently. But I'm okay. Are you? The elderly grandmother who'd spoken earlier approached. Baby girl, you just exposed your husband to an airport full of strangers. You're in pain. You're probably in shock. Are you really okay? Chioma thought about it. Was she okay? Her husband was arrested. Her marriage was over. Her best friend had betrayed her. Her life as she knew it was destroyed. And she'd done it all in front of 300 strangers who'd recorded every second. But for the first time in 12 years, she'd told the truth. The whole truth. No more hiding. No more pretending. No more being small. Yes, she said, surprised to find she meant it. I'm okay. I'm better than okay. I'm free. The grandmother pulled her into a hug. You're going to be fine, daughter. Better than fine. You're going to be amazing. Other women from the crowd came forward, offering tissues, water, phone numbers, support. If you need a lawyer, call me. I work at a women's shelter. Here's our number. My sister went through something similar. She survived. You will too. You're so brave. You just saved other women from him. Thank you for speaking up. The outpouring of support was overwhelming. Strangers united by what they'd witnessed, offering help to a woman they'd never met. Excuse me, Mrs. Okafor? The security guard approached. The police want your statement. Anne, he hesitated. I'm supposed to ask if you still want to board your flight to Abuja. Chioma laughed. Actually laughed. No. I don't think I'll be going to Abuja. Ever. What will you do? She looked around the departure lounge. At the crowd that had become her jury, her witnesses, her unexpected army. I'm going home, she said. To my real home. My parents' house. And then I'm going to start my life over. The right way this time. And your husband? My ex-husband, she corrected. Can face his consequences alone. As the crowd began to disperse, flights to catch, destinations to reach, many stopped to shake Chioma's hand, hug her, take photos with her. You're going to be famous, the university student said. This is all over social media already. Millions of views. He was right. Chioma could see people on their phones, sharing videos, posting updates. #airport exposure was already trending on Nigerian Twitter. Within hours, the whole country would know the story. Within days, it would be international news. The successful businessman exposed by his wife in an airport. The secret families. The embezzlement. All of it caught on camera. Ikeen had wanted to protect his reputation. Instead, he'd destroyed it forever. And Chioma, the woman he'd called stupid, worthless, lucky to have him, had become a hero to thousands of women who saw themselves in her story. As she finally left the departure lounge, accompanied by the police to give her full statement, Chioma thought about the woman she'd been that morning. Scared. Small. Obedient. Silent. And the woman she was now. Brave. Loud. Free. The kick had hurt. The exposure had been terrifying. The destruction of her marriage was painful. But she'd survived. And she'd made sure everyone saw the truth. 300 witnesses. Millions of views. And one woman finally free from the prison of her marriage. That, she thought, was worth everything. The police station was nothing like the departure lounge. No sympathetic crowd. No strangers offering support. Just harsh fluorescent lights, metal chairs, and the mechanical clack of typewriters as officers filled out reports. Chioma sat across from Inspector General Funk Adeyemi in a small interview room, her stomach still throbbing, her lips still bleeding slightly. The adrenaline that had carried her through the airport confrontation was wearing off, leaving behind exhaustion and the sharp realization of what she'd just done. She'd destroyed her husband publicly. There was no going back from that. "Mrs. Okafor, I need you to start from the beginning," Inspector Adeyemi said, her pen poised over a notepad. She was maybe 50, with graying hair and eyes that had seen too much to be shocked by anything. "How long has the abuse been going on?" 12 years. Chioma's voice was hoarse. "Since 6 months after we got married." "Did you ever report it?" "No." "Why not?" Chioma looked at her hands. "Because he told me no one would believe me. Because he's respected. Successful. A church elder. Because I thought it was my fault. Because I was ashamed." Inspector Adeyemi wrote silently for a moment. "The assault today at the airport. Walk me through what happened." Chioma recounted it all. The phone call. The recording. Ikeen's rage. The kick. The crowd. The exposure. "You recorded him without his knowledge. That's technically illegal in Nigeria." "I know." Chioma met the inspector's eyes. "But I was scared. I needed proof. And I was right to be scared. He attacked me the moment he realized what I'd done." 300 witnesses saw that part. Inspector Adeyemi smiled slightly. "That works in your favor. Self-defense and evidence gathering in a domestic violence situation. Any judge will understand. What happens now?" "Now, we charge your husband with assault. The airport footage and witness statements make that case very strong." She paused. "But the embezzlement allegations are more complicated. That's EFCC territory. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. They'll need to investigate. His business partner already called them. And he's doing an audit." "Good. That helps." Inspector Adeyemi leaned forward. "Mrs. Okafor, I have to ask. The secret family in Abuja. The woman with his children. Did you know about them before today?" "I found out 2 months ago." Chioma pulled out her phone, showing the investigator's report she'd commissioned. "I hired someone to follow him. To prove I wasn't crazy. That all the late nights and business trips weren't in my head." "Why didn't you leave him then?" "Because I was terrified. The truth came out raw. Because he controlled all the money. Because I'm a teacher who makes maybe 200,000 naira a month while he spends that on shoes. Because I didn't know how to survive on my own after 12 years of being told I was worthless without him. Inspector Adeyemi nodded. She'd heard this story before. Different women, same fear, same control. But something changed today, she said. What? He called me stupid. Chioma's voice hardened. On that phone call with my best friend. He said I was so stupid I believed everything he told me. And I realized he was right. I had been stupid. Stupid to believe his lies. Stupid to stay. Stupid to think love meant accepting abuse. You're not stupid for surviving. No. But I would have been stupid to keep surviving quietly. Chioma looked at the inspector. When he kicked me and I saw all those people watching, recording, I realized something. He couldn't gaslight 300 witnesses. He couldn't make them believe they didn't see what they saw. For the first time, I had proof he couldn't deny. So you used it. I used it. Chioma smiled bitterly. I burned everything to the ground. My marriage. His reputation. His secrets. All of it. In front of everyone. Do you regret it? Chioma thought about that question. Did she regret it? Standing in an airport, bloodied and broken, exposing her private pain to hundreds of strangers? No, she said finally. I regret staying silent for 12 years. I regret believing him when he said I was crazy. I regret all the times I made excuses for his bruises. But exposing him? Telling the truth? That I'll never regret. Good. Inspector Adeyemi stood. Because that truth is about to get very public. The videos from the airport are everywhere. News outlets are calling. Your husband's arrest is trending on social media. By tomorrow, everyone in Nigeria will know this story. I know. Are you prepared for that? For people judging you? For his family attacking you? For strangers having opinions about your life? Are they going to say worse things about me than he did? Chioma stood too, wincing as her bruised stomach protested. Are they going to make me feel smaller than he made me feel? I don't think that's possible. Inspector Adeyemi smiled. You're stronger than you think, Mrs. Okafor. I had to be. To survive him. By the time Chioma left the police station 3 hours later, the sun was setting over Lagos. She'd given her full statement, handed over all her documentation, provided copies of everything on her phone. The police would build their case. EFCC would investigate the embezzlement. Ikin's business partner would complete the audit. And Chioma would go home. Except she didn't have a home anymore. Not really. The house in Lekki belonged to Ikin. Going back there felt dangerous, especially now that he'd been arrested. His family would be there, demanding answers, probably blaming her. She pulled out her phone and called the only place that had ever truly felt like home. Her mother answered on the second ring. Chioma? Where are you? Your father and I saw the videos. Everyone has been sending them. What happened? Are you alright? Mama, I need to come home. Silence. Then, quietly, you're always welcome home, my daughter. Come now. Her parents' house in Surulere looked exactly the same as it had when Chioma was growing up. Small but neat, painted yellow with green trim, surrounded by other modest houses where families lived simple, honest lives. So different from the Lekki mansion Ikin had insisted they live in. The mansion that was really just a showcase for his success, his status, his control. Her mother opened the door before Chioma could knock, pulling her into an embrace that smelled like shea butter and home cooking and safety. Let me see you. She held Chioma at arm's length, examining her face. The swollen lip. The exhaustion. The defeat and triumph mixed together in her daughter's eyes. I'm okay, Mama. You're not. But you will be. She pulled Chioma inside where her father waited, his face grave. Chioma. He hugged her carefully, like she might break. Maybe she would. We saw the videos. What that man did to you. How could he? The same way he's been doing it for 12 years, Papa. I just finally let everyone see it. They sat her down at the dining table, the same table where she'd done homework as a child, where she'd eaten 1,000 family dinners, where everything had always felt safe and normal. Her mother brought food. Jollof rice, fried plantain, chicken. Chioma hadn't eaten since breakfast, hadn't even thought about food during the chaos. Eat first, her mother commanded. Then tell us everything. So Chioma ate. And then she told them. Everything. The abuse that started 6 months into marriage. The escalation over 12 years. The affairs. The secret family in Abuja. The embezzlement. The systematic destruction of her sense of self. And finally, the phone call. The recording. The confrontation. The kick. The exposure. Her father's hands clenched into fists as she spoke. Her mother's eyes filled with tears. Why didn't you tell us? Her father asked when she finished. We could have helped. We could have protected you. He said you wouldn't believe me. That you'd be disappointed in me for failing at marriage. That you'd blame me for provoking him. Chioma looked at her plate. And I believed him. Because that's what abuse does. It makes you believe the lies. We would have believed you. Her mother's voice was fierce. Always. You're our daughter. I know that now. But for 12 years, I was so deep in his lies I couldn't see the truth anymore. What happens next? Her father asked. Police are charging him with assault. EFCC is investigating the embezzlement. His business partner is doing an audit. I'm filing for divorce and taking him for everything. Chioma took a breath. And I need to stay here for a while. Until I figure out what comes next. You stay as long as you need. Her mother grabbed her hand. This is your home. It's always been your home. That house in Lekki was never home. It was a prison. I know. But Chioma, her father said carefully, you need to prepare yourself. Ikin's family will not take this quietly. His mother, his brothers, they'll come for you. They'll try to make you drop the charges. They'll pressure you to forgive him. They'll say you're destroying the family name. Let them come. Chioma's voice was steel. I have 300 witnesses. I have video evidence. I have documentation of crimes. What are they going to say? That I made it all up? That 300 people imagined what they saw? They'll say you're a bad wife. That you provoked him. That you should have handled it privately. They can say whatever they want. I'm done caring what people think. She looked at her parents. For 12 years, I stayed quiet to protect his reputation. To be a good wife. To not cause trouble. And he beat me anyway. Cheated on me anyway. Stole money anyway. Nothing I did was ever good enough because it was never about me. It was about his control. So you took the control back, her mother said. I took the truth back. The control is just a side effect. Her phone buzzed. A text message from an unknown number. She almost didn't open it. But something made her look. It was a message from a woman she didn't know. The message said, I saw your video at the airport. I'm currently married to a man who beats me. I've never told anyone. I've been too scared. But watching you speak up, watching you refuse to be quiet, it gave me courage. Tomorrow I'm going to a women's shelter. I'm going to leave him. Thank you for being brave enough to show me it's possible. You saved my life today. Chioma stared at the message, tears streaming down her face. What is it? Her mother asked. Someone I don't know. A woman in an abusive marriage. She said watching me speak up gave her courage to leave. Chioma's voice shook. She said I saved her life. Her mother read the message over her shoulder. You see? This is why you had to speak. Not just for yourself. For all of them. All the women watching who need to know it's possible. The phone buzzed again. Another message from another stranger. I've been making excuses for my husband's violence for 6 years. Your video made me realize I deserve better. I'm calling a divorce lawyer tomorrow. Another buzz. My daughter is in an abusive marriage. She won't leave. I'm going to show her your video. Maybe it will help her see she's not alone. Another. Thank you for being brave. Another. You're a hero. Another. I hope he rots in prison. Another. You gave me permission to tell my own truth. The messages kept coming. Dozens. Hundreds. Women from across Nigeria, across Africa, from around the world, all watching her airport exposure, all seeing themselves in her story. This is what you did, her father said quietly, reading over her shoulder. You showed them it's possible. To speak. To survive. To win. I didn't win, Chioma said. I just stopped losing. That's the same thing, her mother replied. That night, lying in her childhood bed, Chioma couldn't sleep. Her body ached. Her mind raced. Her phone kept buzzing with messages, comments, shares. The videos had been viewed 20 million times across all platforms. 20 million people had watched her husband kick her. Watched her expose his secrets. Watched her stand up in front of 300 strangers and refuse to be silent anymore. She was famous now. Not the way she'd ever wanted to be famous, but famous nonetheless. Tomorrow, news outlets would call. His family would arrive. The divorce proceedings would begin. EFCC would deepen their investigation. Her life would become a public spectacle. But tonight, in this moment, she was just a woman in her childhood bed, finally free from the man who'd made her feel worthless for 12 years. Her phone lit up with one more message. This one from a local news channel. Mrs. Okafor, we'd like to interview you about what happened today. Your story is inspiring thousands of women. Would you be willing to speak publicly about domestic violence and survival? Chioma stared at the message. A week ago, she would have said no. Would have been terrified of speaking publicly. Of being judged. Of standing in front of cameras and admitting she'd been abused. But she'd already done the hardest part. She'd already told 300 strangers her truth. What was a few thousand more? She typed back, yes. I'll do the interview. Because if my story can help even one woman leave an abusive marriage, then everything I went through was worth it. She hit send. Then she turned off her phone, closed her eyes, and finally slept. For the first time in 12 years, she slept without fear. Without jumping at every sound. Without wondering if tonight would be the night he came into the bedroom angry. She slept the sleep of a woman who'd finally escaped. And tomorrow, she'd wake up and start building the life she deserved. But tonight, she rested. Because she'd earned it. The next morning, Chioma woke to the smell of her mother's cooking and the sound of her father's voice, low and angry, coming from the living room. She wrapped herself in a wrapper and walked out to find Ikin's mother and 2 of his brothers sitting on the sofa, their faces dark with fury. There she is, Ikin's mother spat. The woman who destroyed my son. Chioma stood in the doorway, looking at the woman who'd made the past 12 years even harder. Who'd told her constantly that she wasn't good enough. That she should be grateful Ikin married her. That wives submit to their husbands no matter what. Your son destroyed himself, Chioma said calmly. I just made sure everyone saw it. You humiliated him. You exposed private family matters to the world. You're a disgrace. No. He's a disgrace. He beat me. Cheated on me. Stole money. Has a secret family. Those are the facts. Sorry if the truth is inconvenient. Ikin's eldest brother stood. You need to drop the charges. Come to the station today and tell them it was all a misunderstanding. No. You will do as you're told. I'm not your family anymore. I don't take orders from you. You're still married to our brother. Not for long. I'm filing for divorce today. Ikeen's mother stood now too, her face twisted with rage. You ungrateful girl. My son gave you everything. A house. Cars. Status. And this is how you repay him? He gave me bruises and trauma. That's what he gave me. Everything else belongs to him, was paid for with stolen money, and I don't want any of it. You're lying about the abuse. Ikeen would never. 300 people saw him kick me yesterday. It's on video. 20 million people have watched it. So unless you're calling 300 strangers and 20 million viewers liars, I suggest you accept reality. Those people don't know the full story. They don't know how you provoked him. There it is. Chioma smiled bitterly. The victim blaming. Tell me, what did I do to deserve being kicked? Answer his phone? Record him planning his affair? Expose his crimes? Which of those things justified violence? Ikeen's mother had no answer. Just rage and shame and the desperate need to protect her son's reputation at any cost. You will regret this, she said finally. When you're alone. When you have nothing. When no man will ever want you because everyone knows you're a troublemaker who destroys families. You'll come crawling back begging for forgiveness. No, I won't. Chioma's voice was steady. Because being alone is better than being with someone who makes me feel worthless. Having nothing is better than having things bought with stolen money. And being a troublemaker who destroys families is better than being a silent victim who enables abuse. Get out of our house, Chioma's father said, his voice like ice. All of you. Now. This isn't over, Ikeen's brother said. Yes, it is. Chioma looked at all three of them. Your son, your brother, is a criminal. He's going to prison. The evidence is overwhelming. And I'm going to make sure he pays for every bruise, every lie, every stolen naira. So you can threaten me all you want. It won't change anything. As Ikeen's family left, hurling insults and threats, Chioma felt something shift inside her. For 12 years, these people had made her feel small. Inadequate. Lucky to be part of their family. Now she realized the truth. She'd never been lucky to marry into this family. They'd been lucky to have her. And they'd wasted that luck by enabling abuse. Their loss. Not hers. 3 days later, Chioma sat across from a television reporter in a studio in Victoria Island, makeup covering the worst of her bruises, her voice steady despite the cameras. Mrs. Okafor, your video has been viewed over 50 million times now. How does that feel? Strange. Surreal. But if it helps even one woman recognize abuse in her own life and leave, then I'm glad it happened. You've become a symbol for domestic violence survivors across Africa. Did you intend for that to happen? No. I just intended to survive. To finally tell the truth after 12 years of lies. The fact that it resonated with so many women just shows how common this problem is. How many of us are suffering in silence? Your husband's family says you're lying. That you provoked him. That you're destroying a good man for attention. What's your response? My response is that 300 witnesses and multiple videos prove otherwise. And that victim blaming is exactly why abuse thrives. Because we focus on what the victim did wrong instead of holding abusers accountable. What do you want people to know about domestic violence? Chioma looked directly into the camera. I want them to know it's not your fault. That you're not crazy for being hurt by someone who claims to love you. That leaving is possible even when it feels impossible. And that speaking your truth, no matter how scary, is always worth it. What's next for you? Divorce. Healing. Rebuilding my life on my own terms. And maybe helping other women do the same. Any message for your husband? Chioma smiled. I hope prison gives you time to reflect on what you did. To 12 years worth of victims. Me. your affair partners, your business partners, your secret family. All of us were just tools for your ego. I hope you learn that people aren't disposable. But honestly, I don't care anymore. You're not my problem. You're the police's problem now. After the interview, as Chioma left the studio, her phone buzzed with a text from Inspector Adeyemi. EFCC found evidence of embezzlement totaling 37 million naira. His business partners are pressing charges. Combined with the assault charge and the bigamy investigation, he's looking at 15 to 20 years minimum. Thought you'd want to know. Chioma stared at the message. 15 to 20 years. Justice. She replied, "Thank you for everything you've done." The inspector wrote back, "Thank you for being brave enough to speak up. You've inspired a lot of women to do the same." As Chioma walked out into the Lagos sunshine, her phone still buzzing with messages of support, she thought about the woman she'd been just 4 days ago. Scared. Silent. Trapped. And the woman she was becoming. Brave. Vocal. Free. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy. Divorce proceedings. Testimony. Rebuilding her life from scratch at 37 years old. But she'd survived the hardest part. She'd told the truth. She'd stood up in front of hundreds of strangers and refused to be quiet anymore. Everything else was just details. And for the first time in 12 years, Chioma smiled. A real smile. Not the fake one she'd perfected for photos with Ikin. Not the tight one she used when people asked if she was happy. A genuine smile of a woman who'd reclaimed her voice, her truth, and her life. That was worth more than any mansion in Lekki. More than any expensive car or designer clothes or status that came from being Mrs. Okafor. She was just Chioma now. Teacher. Survivor. Truth teller. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything. What would you do if you witnessed domestic violence in a public place? Would you speak up or stay silent? Have you ever had to make a difficult choice between staying quiet and telling a hard truth? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe to Stories by Tino. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Your support helps us reach more people with these important stories. Next chapter is coming soon, and you won't want to miss what happens when Ikin's secret family in Abuja discovers the truth. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. The law office of Adeyemi and Partners occupied the 12th floor of a glass tower in Victoria Island, all polished marble and expensive furniture designed to intimidate. But Chioma wasn't intimidated anymore. She sat across from her divorce lawyer, Mrs. Folake Adeyemi, a woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and a reputation for destroying cheating husbands in court. "I've reviewed all the evidence you provided," Folake said, spreading documents across her desk. Bank statements. Photos. Videos. Text messages. Medical records of injuries. "This is one of the most well-documented cases I've ever seen. I spent 6 months gathering it all," Chioma replied. "Once I realized what he was, I started documenting everything. I knew I'd need proof eventually." Smart. Most women come to me with nothing but their word against his. "You've built an airtight case." Folake leaned back in her leather chair. "The assault at the airport sealed it. No judge can ignore 300 witnesses and viral video evidence." "What about the house? The cars? Everything he claims is his?" "All purchased with embezzled funds according to the EFCC investigation. Which means they're proceeds of crime. The court will seize most of it." Folake smiled. "But you, as the innocent spouse, have a claim to marital assets acquired before his criminal activity. We'll argue for compensation. I don't want his money. I want him to face consequences. You can have both. He stole from his business partners. He beat you. He committed bigamy. He's going to prison and losing everything. But you deserve compensation for 12 years of abuse. Don't let pride make you walk away with nothing. Chioma considered that. She'd been supporting herself on a teacher's salary while Ikeen lived in luxury. Maybe she did deserve something. What about his other family? The woman in Abuja? Adiz Okoro. 31 years old. Has a 3-year-old son with Ikeen and is 7 months pregnant with their second child. Folake pulled up a file. She claims she didn't know he was married. That he told her he was divorced. Do you believe her? Does it matter? She's a victim too. He lied to her. Used her. She's pregnant with a criminal's child and probably has no financial support. Chioma felt an unexpected stab of sympathy. What happens to her? She can sue him for child support. Once he's in prison, she'll have to rely on whatever assets remain after the government seizes the rest. Folake paused. She's been trying to reach you, actually. Wants to talk. Why would I want to talk to her? Because she has information. About other women. Other crimes. She's willing to testify against him in exchange for immunity from any fraud charges. Apparently, he had her signing documents she didn't understand. Might have made her an unwitting accomplice. You want me to meet with my husband's mistress? I want you to meet with a woman who can help put him away for even longer. Your choice. Chioma stared out the window at the Lagos skyline. Somewhere in this city, Ikeen sat in a jail cell, his empire crumbling, his secrets exposed, his future destroyed. And somewhere in Abuja, a pregnant woman with a toddler was realizing her entire relationship had been built on lies. Set up the meeting, Chioma said finally. But here. In your office. With you present. Done. I'll arrange it for tomorrow. As Chioma left the lawyer's office, her phone rang. Her mother. Chioma, you need to come home. Now. Someone's here to see you. Who? One of Ikeen's girlfriends. The one from his dealership. Blessing. She's crying and says she needs to talk to you. Tell her to leave. She says she's pregnant. Chioma closed her eyes. Of course. Of course there was another pregnancy. I'll be there in 30 minutes. Blessing sat on the sofa in Chioma's parents' living room, looking younger than her 26 years. Petite, pretty, with red-rimmed eyes and trembling hands. Mrs. Okafor, thank you for seeing me. Her voice was barely a whisper. I'm not Mrs. Okafor anymore. Just Chioma. She sat across from the younger woman, studying her. My mother said you're pregnant. 3 months. Blessing touched her still flat stomach. I found out 2 days before the airport incident. I was going to tell him that day, but then the videos came out and I saw everything. The secret family. The other women. All of it. And you want what? Sympathy? Money? An abortion? I want you to know I'm sorry. Tears streamed down Blessing's face. I didn't know he was married at first. He told me he was divorced. Showed me documents that I now realize were fake. By the time I found out the truth, I was already in love with him and he said he was leaving you anyway. Classic. Chioma's voice was flat. Let me guess. He said I was cold. Unloving. That the marriage was dead. That he was only staying until the time was right. Yes. All of that. And you believed him. I was 23 when it started. He was sophisticated, successful, generous. I thought I was special. Blessing wiped her eyes. I was stupid. You were young. He was a predator. There's a difference. I helped him hurt you. I'm part of why you suffered. Chioma looked at this girl, barely older than a child, carrying a baby she probably couldn't afford to raise, realizing she'd been used by a man who never loved her. And felt something unexpected, pity. How many times did he hit you? Chioma asked quietly. Blessing's head snapped up. What? How many times did Ikeen hit you? Because he didn't reserve violence just for me. Men like him hit all their women eventually. He never hit me. Not even once. When you questioned him? When you made demands? When you got inconvenient? Blessing looked away. Once. Last year. I accused him of seeing other women and he slapped me. But he apologized. Said he was stressed. It only happened once. It always starts with once. Then it's twice. Then it's every time you displease him. Chioma leaned forward. You think you escaped his violence because you were special. But you just didn't stay long enough. Eventually, he would have beaten you too. Probably while you were pregnant and couldn't fight back. I didn't know. Now you do. So what are you going to do about that baby? I don't know. Blessing's hand went to her stomach protectively. I can't afford to raise a child alone. But I can't abort it either. It's not the baby's fault its father is a monster. No. It's not. Chioma stood and walked to the window. My lawyer says several of his mistresses are cooperating with police. Trading testimony for immunity. Are you willing to testify? About what? About him. About how he operated. About the lies he told. About the violence. About anything that helps put him away longer. You want me to help destroy him? I want you to help make sure he never does this to another woman. That's different. Blessing was quiet for a long moment. He told me he loved me. That we'd build a life together. That I was the one he wanted. He told me that too. 12 years ago. Then he spent the next 12 years making me wish I was dead. Chioma turned to face her. You can help make sure no other woman believes those lies. You can help save the next girl he targets. Okay. Blessing nodded. I'll testify. I'll tell them everything. Good. Give your contact information to my mother. My lawyer will reach out. As Blessing stood to leave, she paused at the door. Mrs. Okafor. Chioma. Do you hate me? Chioma considered the question. Did she hate this girl who'd slept with her husband? Who'd believed his lies? Who was now carrying his child? No, she said finally. I hate him. You're just another one of his victims. Same as me. Same as Adiz in Abuja. Same as all the others. He's the villain. Not you. After Blessing left, Chioma's mother brought tea and sat beside her daughter. You were very kind to that girl. She's 26 years old, pregnant and alone, realizing the man she loved never existed. She doesn't need my cruelty on top of that. You're a better person than I would be in your situation. I'm just tired of being angry. Anger at him makes sense. But anger at the women he fooled? That's wasted energy. They were targets, not enemies. Her phone buzzed. A text from Inspector Adeyemi. Update: Ikeen has been formally charged with embezzlement, fraud, assault, and bigamy. Trial date set for 2 months from now. His lawyer is pushing for bail, but we're arguing he's a flight risk. Thought you'd want to know. Chioma showed the message to her mother. 2 months until trial. What will you do until then? Live. Heal. Testify when the time comes. Maybe start thinking about what comes after all this. What do you mean? I've been a teacher for 15 years. I love it. But I've also been Chioma the abused wife, Chioma the victim, Chioma the woman who exposed her husband. Maybe it's time to figure out who Chioma actually is when she's not defined by him. You're my daughter. That's who you are. Chioma smiled. That's a good place to start. The next day, Chioma returned to Mrs. Adeyemi's office to meet Adiz, the woman from Abuja who'd built a life with a man who already had a wife. Adiz arrived exactly on time, her pregnant belly prominent under a simple dress, a toddler on her hip who stared at everyone with Ikeen's eyes. They sat across from each other in the conference room, Two women connected by the same terrible man, studying each other like opponents before a match. "Thank you for agreeing to meet," Adiz said finally. Her voice was soft, educated, nothing like what Chioma expected. "I know you have every right to hate me. I don't hate you. I don't know you. I didn't know about you either. Not until the videos." Adiz's eyes were red from crying. "He told me he was divorced. 4 years ago when we met. He had documents. A decree absolute. It all looked real. It was fake. I know that now. But for 4 years I believed I was in a legitimate relationship. That we were building a family together." She looked at her son. "That my children had a father who loved them. Did he support you? Financially?" "Yes. He bought me a house in Abuja. Gave me money every month. Visited at least twice a month, sometimes more." Adiz paused. "I thought he was a good man. A bit secretive about his work, but good. He was neither good nor secretive enough apparently." "When did you find out about me?" 2 months ago. I hired an investigator after years of suspecting affairs. He found you. And Blessing. And Jennifer. And Ngozi. And probably others we haven't discovered yet." Adiz closed her eyes. "I wasn't even special. Just one of many. None of us were special. We were all just useful to him in different ways. What happens to me now?" Adiz's voice broke. "The house is in his name. The money is gone. I have a 3-year-old and a baby coming in 2 months. No job because he said he'd take care of us. No savings because I trusted him. Nothing." Chioma looked at this woman, 7 months pregnant, with a toddler who'd never know his father outside of prison, facing poverty because she'd trusted the wrong man. "You testify," Chioma said. "Against him. Everything you know. Then you sue for child support. Even from prison, he'll owe you money for those children. His assets are being seized. Not all of them. And there will be restitution. You're the mother of his children. You're entitled to support. Will that be enough? Probably not. But it's something." Chioma pulled out her phone. "I'm texting you contact information for 3 organizations that help single mothers. They can help with housing, childcare, job training. It won't be easy, but you'll survive." "How do you know?" "Because I survived 12 years with him. If I can survive that, you can survive this." Adiz looked at her son, then back at Chioma. "Why are you helping me?" "I slept with your husband. I had his children. You didn't sleep with my husband. You slept with a man who lied to you about who he was. That's not the same thing." Chioma stood. "And I'm helping you because I understand what it's like to build your life around a man who turns out to be a monster. The difference is, I wasted 12 years. You only wasted 4. Consider yourself lucky." "I don't feel lucky." "You will. Eventually. When you're raising those children alone but in peace. When you're not waiting for him to come home and terrified of what mood he'll be in. When you're poor but safe. That's when you'll feel lucky." After Adiz left, the lawyer pulled Chioma aside. "That was very gracious of you. Helping her. Most wives would have torn her apart. Most wives haven't been where I've been. I know what it's like to be his victim. She needs help, not judgment. She's willing to testify. About his financial dealings in Abuja. Apparently, he had her signing business documents as a witness. She can prove he was setting up shell companies to hide money. Good. More evidence. More charges. More years in prison. You really want him to suffer, don't you?" "I want him to face consequences." "That's different." Chioma gathered her things. "Suffering is what he did to all of us. Consequences are what he earned." That evening, Chioma's phone rang with a number she didn't recognize. She almost didn't answer, tired of reporters and strangers asking for interviews. But something made her pick up. "Hello? Chioma." The voice made her blood run cold. "Keen. Calling from jail. Don't hang up. Please. You have 30 seconds. I'm sorry. For everything. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I need you to know I'm sorry. You're sorry you got caught. No. I'm sorry for what I did. For how I treated you. For making you feel worthless when you were the best thing that ever happened to me. You beat me. Cheated on me. Stole from everyone. Started a whole second family while telling me I was lucky you stayed. That's not losing something good. That's destroying it deliberately. I know. I was a monster. I am a monster. But I'm going to get help. Therapy. Anger management. Whatever it takes. You're going to prison, Keen. For 15 to 20 years. That's what's happening." Silence. Then, quieter, the lawyer says we can negotiate. If you drop the assault charges, they might reduce the sentence. No. Chioma, please. I'm begging you. Show mercy. For the years we had together. For the man I used to be. Please. You want mercy? You kicked me in an airport. In front of 300 people. Over a phone call. You were going to cheat on me with my best friend for 3 days while I sat alone in a hotel. You have a whole secret family. You stole 37 million naira. And you want mercy? I made mistakes. Mistakes are forgetting an anniversary. Mistakes are saying something hurtful in an argument. What you did was deliberate. Systematic. Evil. Those weren't mistakes. That was who you are. I can change. Then change in prison. You'll have plenty of time. The other women are testifying against me. Your lawyer is destroying me. I'm going to lose everything. You already lost everything. The moment you kicked me. You just didn't know it yet. So that's it? 12 years of marriage and you're throwing it all away? Chioma laughed, bitter and sharp. I'm not throwing it away. You destroyed it years ago. I'm just finally admitting it's dead. I love you. No, you don't. You never did. You loved controlling me. You loved having a wife who made you look respectable while you did whatever you wanted. But love? You don't know what that word means. Chioma, please. I'm losing my mind in here. I can't sleep. I can't eat. All I think about is what I've lost. What I threw away. Please. Show some compassion. I'm showing exactly as much compassion as you showed me when you beat me. When you called me stupid. When you planned your life with other women while calling me your wife. That's the compassion you earned. You're going to regret this. When I'm gone and you're alone and you realize you destroyed both our lives for revenge. I'm not destroying your life for revenge. I'm rebuilding mine for survival. There's a difference. I'll die in prison. Is that what you want? I want you to face consequences for your actions. If that happens in prison, so be it. You made choices, Keen. Choices that hurt people. Now you're facing the results of those choices. That's not my fault. That's yours. She hung up. And blocked his number. And sat in the silence of her childhood bedroom, listening to her heart pound, waiting for guilt that never came. She just condemned her husband to decades in prison. And she felt nothing but relief. 2 weeks later, the preliminary hearing arrived. Chioma sat in the Lagos High Court, surrounded by her parents, her lawyer, and a gallery packed with journalists and curious onlookers who'd followed the case online. Keen was led in wearing prison clothes instead of his usual designer suits, his face gaunt, his hands cuffed. He looked at her once. Just once. Chioma looked back without flinching. The judge reviewed the charges: assault, embezzlement, fraud, bigamy. The evidence: 300 witness statements, multiple videos, financial records, testimony from victims and accomplices. It took 3 hours to present it all. When it was done, the judge looked at Ikeen. "Mr. Okafor, you have been accused of multiple serious crimes against your wife, your business partners, and several other women. The evidence against you is substantial. How do you plead?" Ikeen's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, my client wishes to enter a plea of guilty to the assault and embezzlement charges in exchange for reduced sentencing on the other charges." "Absolutely not." The prosecutor stood. "The evidence for all charges is overwhelming. We're not negotiating. Your Honor, my client is willing to make full restitution." "With stolen money?" The judge's voice was dry. "I don't think so." The hearing continued. Arguments. Counter-arguments. Legal maneuvering. But in the end, it was simple. Ikeen was remanded to custody pending trial. Bail denied due to flight risk and severity of charges. The trial date was set for 6 weeks away. As Ikeen was led out of the courtroom, he turned to look at Chioma one more time. She stared back, her face empty of emotion. He'd taken 12 years of her life. Now the justice system would take 15 to 20 of his. That seemed fair. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Chioma had learned to navigate them over the past weeks. "Mrs. Okafor, how do you feel about today's outcome?" "I feel like justice is finally possible. Your husband pleaded guilty to some charges. Does that change how you feel?" "Pleading guilty isn't the same as being sorry. It's just admitting you got caught. I'll believe he's sorry when he makes genuine amends to all his victims, not just tries to reduce his sentence." "What's next for you?" "Divorce. Healing. Living. Everything I couldn't do while married to him." Any message for other domestic violence survivors watching this? Chioma looked directly into the cameras. "Document everything. Tell someone. And when you're ready to leave, leave loudly. Make noise. Get witnesses. Because men like my husband rely on silence and shame to keep doing what they do. The moment you refuse to be silent, the moment you refuse to be ashamed, you take their power away." One more question. "Do you regret exposing him so publicly?" "Some people say you should have handled it privately. Some people think abuse should stay hidden so families can save face. I think abuse should be exposed so families can be safe. I chose safety over reputation. I'd make that choice again every single time." As she walked away from the courthouse, her phone buzzed with another message from a stranger. "I left my abusive husband today. I have nowhere to go and I'm terrified. But I left. Because you showed me it was possible. Thank you." Chioma saved the message like she'd saved all the others. Hundreds of them now. Women across Nigeria and beyond, all finding courage in her story. That was the real victory. Not the trial. Not the charges. Not even Ikeen going to prison. The real victory was every woman who saw what she did and realized they could do it too. That they could leave. That they could speak. That they could survive. And more than survive. They could thrive. Just like Chioma was starting to.